See, I guess the dogs are going to be in for this one. Anyway, I made a quick post not that long ago about my shit hits the fan options or world without order, and I came up with this. The reason why I have this is really simple. Well, I just like to look at the old school rifles, but I think this basic configuration, with the exception of the fact that it is a mid-length gas system, was very effective in actual real-world combat, and was used for a long time, and it doesn't require batteries. I think that matters. It's not particularly heavy, but that's not what I want to discuss here. What I want to discuss here is things I see other people's videos about, and one of them is receiver fit. Now, you see, it's not too bad. It's pretty tight. I swapped around, and I build budget rifles. I think as long as it's mil spec, what's in the rifle is more important than what the actual, forgings are on the outside. So this is a palmetto, and I find, believe it or not, the Anderson lowers I have are tighter than the palmetto lowers. And I saw a video once with somebody saying that you want loose is better. Now, I just have to come at it from a realistic perspective as somebody who has worked with machinery. I was an automobile technician. I do some amateur gunsmithing myself. A lot of my stuff is experimental in the way I've put it together originally, and then I learned a lot along the way. And I have to disagree. I mean, I think if you have this as loose and the mag moves with it, then okay, your feeding might be okay. Okay, as far as feeding issues go. But there's other things at play here. If it's all tight and everything fits together and all the clearances are proper, or good enough for proper function, I think tight is better than loose. And the reason why is this. Here's your bolt carrier, right? Your bolt carrier gets knocked back into here. If you're too loose side to side, that bolt carrier can hit any of these areas around the actual buffer and create a malfunction. The other thing is as long as it's tight and the clearance is proper between, where your magazine feeds and the actual feed ramps, you should have no problem also. Then the rest is, head spacing and so proper extraction and everything else. Now, I don't know if this is going to show up on the video very well because the lighting out here is what it is. But you see, I did some grinding and polishing on the feed ramps there. The reason why was this upper receiver did not have M4 feed ramps put into it. And I had purchased this. I didn't build this upper. I did build the uppers on some of my other rifles, and they, in fact, had no failures. So I must have done something right? This particular upper I bought off of a company called TMNTE, I think it is. And, it's a little outfit somewhere that I found an ad for someplace. And they charged me way too much for it. They couldn't get all the parts they needed for it to build it properly in stock. So they actually gave me a millenited barrel when it was supposed to be chrome lined on the inside originally. I told them I didn't care because it was taking too long. I waited months. It was around the COVID time. There was some problem with people finding parts. Okay, whatever. But the whole reason I ordered it from them to begin with was because I was having trouble finding, believe it or not, of all things, this front hand guard or hand grip, whatever you want to call it, the forend. I was having trouble finding one, and I wanted one like that. And I was having trouble finding, everyone seemed to be out of stock. Palmetto didn't have any uppers available. There was all this going on. So they had it advertised with a 2-week lag time. But that 2 weeks ended up being 3 months. And they should have been honest with me on the phone from the beginning. They didn't have all the stuff, and then it was going to be a greater delay. They never did. They didn't even contact me and let me know it was a delay. I had to contact them after 6 weeks for them to explain that it should be soon. And then it turned into a back and forth. And then they said they had trouble finding the barrels. The barrels weren't coming in. So I made a compromise. I said, okay, well, then put a melanite barrel on it. I'll do without the chrome lining. It's not that big a deal, right? But that's fine. But they did not offer me any break in the price of that upper. And they charged me almost $500 for that upper. Now, if I would have built this, if all the parts were available and this was available, and the barrel I want and everything else, if I was to build that at the same time myself, which was what my original intention was, but I couldn't find the parts, I could have built it for probably about $100 less, easily. So I was a little disappointed that they weren't even willing to shave off, a couple of bucks. I don't know, not hit me on the shipping, something, considering the delay. But anyway, that's a customer service issue. But what I'm really talking about here is that fit thing. I mean, somebody can agree with me or disagree with me. I don't know. I just find from a functioning perspective, it makes more sense for it to be tight than it does loose because of that. If it's all tight and this fits right and the clearance is right from here to the feed ramps for your for the feed, that's fine. It wiggling, I mean, there's two things. If the magazine's not wiggling with the upper, then you could have a failure to feed issue, or you could have a failure to extract issue if it's not lined up proper with the bolt going back and forth also. So if you're having all that movement, and then of course it could jam up in the buffer area also, if it's really moving that much, I mean, you should see what people show. This guy was like, loose is better. And I'm like, you're out of your mind. Makes no sense. If everything fits together properly, I don't think it should be a problem. Anyway, but then in the follow-up, of course, like I was saying, if you needed like a survival rifle, there you go. A sling's all you need. I don't need the light. It'd be crazy if there's a world without order and you're prowling around at night to begin with. As far as for home defense at that point, you should have better measures than just worrying about if you hear a bump in the night and you have to get up with a flashlight. That's going to give away your position. If anything, world without order, because you're not talking about having to chase people out and wait for the cops to come, you're going to want to find yourself a defensive position and stage an ambush. It's different tactics for different people. But, don't go prowling around at night when there's no order. That's just crazy. Not only that, but if people aren't manufacturing batteries, where are you getting them? There's just certain things you shouldn't be dependent on. Now, I'm not saying this is the only weapon you should have in that kind of situation either. I think a good pistol is a good idea. For close quarters, I would pick a higher caliber pistol that has less penetration, believe it or not, assuming that, like, the world isn't walking around where everybody has body armor. You just need to be able to do damage. You don't want to go through the person and hit something you don't want to hit, so maybe 45 ACP is a good caliber after all, right? Yes, I do carry 9mm, but for inside your home defense, if you have other people there that you don't want to hit, I think 45 is a good option. Shotguns, everybody loves shotguns. I don't own one, but I've seen penetration test on with a 12 gauge. Has far more penetration than even a 5.56 does, particularly close range. You want to go through a person, go through walls, go through whoever else, and then, you add a possible spread. Depending on how far away you're shooting at the person. And I don't think it's necessarily the safest option for self-defense. Effective, obviously, you're going to stop whoever it is. It's going to do a lot of damage, but damn, you better hope you hit the person you want to hit and that someone you love is not behind them. So, of course, in true shit hits the fan option kind of thing, world without order, I think you should have a shotgun. You should probably have an AR-15. You should probably have a pistol. So how about that pistol? That's right. Oh, I know it's not new school cool, but sorry about that. 1911. Old reliable. 2 world wars. Korea, Vietnam, it was there. Let's be honest. It was effective then. Why wouldn't it work for you in a world without order if you just took care of it? Doesn't have a whole lot of bells and whistles because it doesn't need it. Doesn't have high capacity, but you know what? You're not going and fighting with this. It's your last resort. Or at close range, pretty sure 45 ACP. These are round nose. This will feed hollow points, no problem though. You could, you'll be able to stop who you have to stop. Aim sure. Aim true. Anyone who says they're not reliable, I'm not buying it, man, because, I have thousands of rounds through this thing, and I haven't had a problem. I know I leave all my guns loaded. I don't always leave it chambered round, but new school cool. Remember what I said about 45 ACP? Now, if you've seen any of the videos on this channel, you've seen these already. FNX 45, tactical. There's your new school stuff. You want to play with batteries? You put a red dot and a light on it. I obviously don't have a light on it right now. What's good about this? 15 rounds, 45 ACP. This is my home defense weapon, by the way. This is if you break into my house, that's it. You're going to be swallowing some fat pills. Maybe. I'm going to do everything I can not to actually have to use it on a person, believe it or not. Hopefully I'll be able to assess the situation, but I'm pretty good hand-to-hand. Anyway, that's it. I mean, my biggest missing in the last video I did about a shit hit the fan thing was a sling. I think you need a sling. If you're going to walk around with a rifle, you need a sling. Let's be honest, that shit gets heavy after a while. Even a light rifle gets heavy after a while. Anyway, there's some of my opinions. I know they suck. What do you want me to tell you? I'm not a military guy. I'm not a tactical cool guy. I'm not a commando. I'm just a guy who likes firearms and hot rods and motorcycles and rock and roll, dogs, broads. Whoa, did I say broads? Yeah, it's not sexist. Don't say that. Anyway, I guess I'll leave it at that. We'll close here. It's short enough. Have a nice day.